around the U.S. usually pick one senior, in this case, two seniors, thank you, Kale, for that great speech, from their ranks to give a speech. This speech should inspire. This speech should enlighten. And this speech should reduce happiness and success to a single cliche idea. All humor aside, I'm honored to have the opportunity to represent the Family Partnership graduating class of 2026. Behind me tonight, we have one graduate who plans to go to Dakota to play football on a scholarship. We have one graduate who will compete in collegiate hockey while obtaining her nursing degree, and another who wants to go into fashion marketing. One of our graduates is planning to explore forensic science, and another will be majoring in wildlife biology and conservation. Sitting on this stage are young men and women who go on to design buildings as engineers, save lives as doctors and nurses, inspire others with art and music, and become masters of their trade. As you might expect based on my presence before you today, while the students behind me have been outside, living their lives, I've been inside, reading about how to live my life. Having viewed these many black lines on paper, this makes me the obvious choice to provide grounded insight into the realities of life. During my time inside, I have dived into English literature. I sunk into the worlds of Melville, Hemingway, and Shakespeare. I've appreciated the fine subtleties of Homer, Orville, and Dickens. But today, I want to talk about a story that exceeds the genius of all of these. Star Wars. Now, I assume most of you know the basic storyline of Star Wars, or at least the three oldest movies. If you don't, you can scold your parents after this speech because they were supposed to be educated together. Today, I focus on a single Star Wars character, Luke Skywalker. At the beginning of A New Hope, Luke lived at home with his guardians, and like most kids, was forced to do unwelcome chores. On top of this, he was also homeschooled on a quiet planet separated from the bustling cities around the galaxy. In other words, Luke Skywalker was the average Alaskan homeschooler. Luke, just like many of us, yearned for an opportunity to escape and explore the galaxy. Of course, for Luke, this opportunity was his guardian's death, but that's besides the point. Throughout his epic tale, Luke learns lessons about failure, relationships, and confidence. I believe we can learn these as well. First, plan to fail. Luke Skywalker is possibly the greatest Star Wars hero, and yet, throughout A New Hope, he did almost nothing but fail. He lost R2-D2, almost resulting in his own death. He failed to save his own uncle from death. He failed to save Obi-Wan Kenobi from death. Even after these fails, though, Luke was not a failure. In the final scenes of the movie, through expert piloting and intuition, Luke destroys the Death Star, saving his friends, the rebellion, and ultimately achieving success. As one of the world's greatest philosophers said, the greatest teacher failure is. When we fail, we're not a failure. Instead, failures make us smarter, accelerating our path to success. Second, build relationships. For most of A New Hope, Han Solo is by Luke's side. And at the end of the movie, Solo saves Luke's life by knocking Darth Vader's TIE fighter off target. Since 1990, however, even though we can virtually connect with more people than ever before, the number of adults in the US who report having no close relationships has quadrupled. This demonstrates that in today's society, relationships may not come without intentional effort. Instead, we must build them by setting aside time in our schedules to spend with friends and family. Now, you may want to question your life choices if your closest friend is a smuggler who drives a gray unmarked vehicle. Even so, as the Skywalker Solo synergy shows, friendships are, literally in their case, a basic requirement for life. Third, carry confidence. Throughout his entire life, Luke possessed something that, when activated, would enable him to change the world. This was the Force. At the beginning of A New Hope, Luke was actually pretty hopeless. He was a menace when waving around a lightsaber and not in a good way. When Obi-Wan Kenobi tested Luke's skill by having him try to deflect laser bolts, Luke was constantly stung by the beams of light. At the end of the movie, though, when Luke is attempting to destroy the Death Star, he makes a split-second decision to rely on his instincts rather than instrumentation for when to shoot his torpedoes. At this moment, Luke found self-confidence, allowing him to use the Force that he had always possessed. Now, let me tell you something surprising. Everyone in this room has the ability to use the Force. In our world, the Force does not manifest in the traditional sense. If it did, I would simply Jedi mind trick my siblings into doing all my chores. No, sadly, this is not the case. Instead, we each have a different kind of Force. Charisma, academic intelligence, the ability to do a double pirouette while on point, the talent of carving nearly anything from a block of wood. That's my siblings. Some of us know what our version of the Force is, others have yet to find it. What we all have in common, though, is the ability to better the world using our Force. Like Luke Skywalker, we must simply be confident in our ability to wield it. And there we have it. Now when you rewatch Star Wars in 40 years, it will unexpectedly remind you of your high school graduation. Plan to fail, build relationships, and carry confidence. Family Partnership Class of 2026, we are this world's new hope. May the Force be with you.